Greetings, Wambuimadeit here. Welcome to Wambuimadeit. Today, we're going to get started on our baby blanket. When our baby blanket is finished, it's going to be approximately 30 inches by 30 inches. It will consist of two panels, 15 inches by 30 inches, and we're going to join the panels together, and then we're going to put some fringe on our baby blanket. The pattern is designed to be worked on a loom that is a 5/8 inch gauge, and that just means the distance between these two pegs, 5/8 inches. Usually you can find these easily. The 5/8 inch gauge, I think, is the most common inch gauge for the looms. This came in a package that I got at Michael's a few years ago, and I believe the largest looms in those packages are 41 pegs. So you want your 41 pegs, and if you don't have a loom that has 41 pegs, before you invest in that loom, I would really consider investing in the flexi looms. They're cost effective. They don't cost very much at all. But what the flexi loom allows you to do is to make the loom the size that you want it to be. So as a loom knitter, you can make a custom your loom to be really tiny, or you can make a large loom just putting these pegs together. Now these are 5/8 inches. This is one of the sizes of the flexi looms that you can get, and you can make you a loom that's at least 41 pegs. The tutorial will be in 3 parts. This is part 1, and in this part I'm going to get you started. Make sure you understand the stitches. The 2 stitches that are going to be used are the Loom Knit Purl stitch and the Loom Knit True Knit stitch, or the flat stitch. So it's really 2 stitches that we're going to be using. So I'm going to get you started in this video and work you up to where I have at least 12 inches. Now, I'm sure you're going to get it by the first row, or at least by the second row, but I'm going to stay with you and work with you and get it to where mine is at least 12 inches. I may not be on camera that whole time. I may fast forward, but when I stop, I'm going to have at least 12 inches done. Then I'm going to come back in part 2, and we'll just continue on, and that's where we're going to take the project off the loom, and I'm going to show you how to do a loose cast off so that the beginning of your blanket matches the end of your blanket. And then in part 3, we're going to come back and we're going to join the sections together and put the fringe on our baby blanket. Now you can go at your own pace. I'm going to try to get the videos up as fast as I can. It depends on how fast I can work on the project to finish it. And also, I'm going to talk about marking the looms. Now, when you hear, well, there are only 2 stitches and it's not that complicated, but I'm going to tell you how marking the loom can make the project just a lot more fun, stress-free if you have your looms marked in a certain way. Okay, so I think I've talked enough. We're going to go over to my table now, and we're going to just do it. Don't tell Nike I said that. Okay, we're ready to get started. We have our loom, we have our hook, we have yarn, we have scissors and a darning needle, which we won't need until much later. And we have a measuring device so that we can measure as we go along. I have a marker here, and this is the first thing I'm going to start with because I believe it's going to just make it more stress-free if you've marked your pegs. So this is the loom that I'm going to be using, and what I've started doing is I'm putting a mark on the first and then skipping every other peg. I'm putting a mark on. Now this is a Sharpie, so it may not come off, but I'm willing to live with that. So I'm just going to go mark. You can use nail polish if you want to have something that you can take off easily. I don't recommend using the little bands right now because I think they're going to get in the way with this project. But I'm just marking every other peg, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the same on the top too. And once we get started, I think you'll see why marking the loom every other peg is going to be a good thing. Now this peg, ooh, every other. Okay, now this loom has 48 pegs, and so we want to use only 41, but I'm going to go ahead and do every other on here. Every other. All right, and so now we're back at number 1. I'm going to do the same thing on the top, and every other, and of course it should correspond with the dot you put on the side. So every other, okay, and so forth and so on. Now that we've marked the loom, we're going to do an E-wrap cast on as our foundation row. And if you are familiar with and you like doing the chain stitch cast on, that will work beautifully for this project. I chose the E-wrap cast on because I thought that would be more user-friendly to most of the people on the channel. Okay, so we've done our famous loom knit loop, and we're going to put it on our first peg. And let's tighten it a little bit. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to wrap 41 pegs. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. And now we're going to go back the other way with the E-wrap on top. Slide these down a little bit so you have room, and just go right back all the way until we get back to the first peg. Oops. Okay. All right, we're back at peg 1, and now we're going to pull up and over. If anybody is watching this who has never loom knitted before, or you're wondering what is going on, then I will have a link in the description to a video on the channel called How to Loom Knit, and it will get you started if you've never loom knitted before. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and pull these bottoms over the top, and we're going to go all around and do that. Okay. Up and over, up and over, over. Okay, so that is our E-wrap stitch foundation row. We will not be E-wrapping at all at any point from now on in the process or progress of this blanket. We will not E-wrap anything. Even when we're taking it off the loom, we will not be E-wrapping. Okay, so that was, say goodbye to E-wrapping for now. What we're going to do are the 2 stitches, which are we're going to do the knit. And so I'm going to start with the knit, and then purl, then knit, then purl. Now what these little markings help me to do is to remember what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So for instance, I'm going to start with the knit, then I'm going to do a purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Phone rings. I say hello. I say I'm fine. I say I'll call you back. And then I come back and I say, oh my God, was I knitting or was I purling? What should I do next? And so what this does is if I start with the marked one as a knit, then when I'm going this way, all of the marked ones are going to be knit, and the ones that are plain are going to be purl. Now that helps me. You may have a better, clearer mind than I do, but I was making a lot of little mistakes before I decided to mark the pegs. Okay, so we're going to start with the knit stitch. Now the knit stitch, again, I'm going to leave the link to the video I just uploaded about a week ago where I'm explaining how to do the true knit stitch or the flat stitch. It is the opposite of the purl stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Now I'm going to see if I can bring this in just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think that'll be good. All right, so we're going to do a knit. Now we're always going to come from the outside, and we're going to lay the yarn across the top. It's going to be above the loop that's already on there. So we want it above. Now if we were doing a purl, we would do the same thing, only purls we always want the yarn to be below the loop. Okay, but we're going to do the true knit. We want it across the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in from the bottom. We're going to lift up our hook, put it over, and keep it in that groove and just kind of slide it and scooch it up. And now we have a new loop. We're going to take that new loop, hold it in our fingers, and while we're holding it, we're going to pull off everything that's on the top. This old loop, we're going to pull it off, and we're going to put the new loop on, and we're going to pull gently. Okay, so now we have our first knit. The next peg is for us to purl. We want to purl. So for purling, we put it on the bottom of the loop. We go below the loop. And for purl, we're going to go in on the top and again raise our hook up and put it over that yarn and scooch it up, and we have a new loop. Okay, we're going to take that loop, pull the old loop off, and put the new loop on and pull gently. Now it's time to knit. We're going to lay it on top. We're going to go underneath, lift up the hook, put it on top, and we're going to bring it back through. And so now we have a new loop. We're going to hold that loop in our fingers while we push the old loop off, and we're going to put the new loop back on. Okay, pull gently on the working yarn. All right, so now we are going to do a purl. So for a purl, we need to lay it across underneath that loop. So we're going to lay it underneath that, and for a purl, we're going to come in from the top, and we're going to put our loop, a hook underneath, and go over that yarn and just kind of slide it in that little groove that's on the peg. And then you're going to take your fingers, pull everything off, and you're going to put the new loop on, pull gently. All right, time for knit. We're going to lay it across this peg on top of the loop because it's a knit. Knit, we come in from the bottom. We take our hook up and over and slide it through. So now we have a new loop. We're going to take that loop, and pull everything that's on that peg off, and we're going to put the new loop on. Pull gently. All right, time to purl. So for purl, we need to push things up a little bit because we want to lay that down at the bottom for purl. For purl, we come in from the top. Going to slide in on that in the groove. Lift. Let me see. I think I can even get a little better. Let's see if we can. Okay, so we're going to purl now. So for purl, we come in from the top, and we're going to go over that yarn that's at the bottom and scooch that up like that, okay? And then we're going to take the old loop off and put the brand new loop on. Pull gently. Now it's time to knit again. So knit, we want to push the loop down because we want to lay it on above. When it's a knit, we want to lay it above that loop that's already on there. And so we're going to come in from the bottom, go over, and we're going to scooch it up. Okay, now we have a new loop. We're going to take this loop, take all of that off, and put the new loop back on. Working yarn, pull gently. All right, time for a purl. We need to move it up a little bit for a purl, because for a purl, we want to lay the yarn down below that loop. All right, and so now we're going to come in from the top, lift up our hook, and put our hook over. Okay, going from the top, put our hook over, and we're just going to slide it up through that in that little groove. And now we have a new loop. We're going to take that new loop and pull off the old loop, put the new loop on, and then we're going to pull gently. All right, time to knit. So knit, the yarn goes up. Okay, so we're going to go from the bottom. When we knit, take our hook and put it over that yarn that we laid across the peg, and now we have a new loop. We're going to take this, holding it in our fingers, pull off the old loop, and you're going to put the new loop on. Pull gently. All right, once again, we have a purl. So for a purl, the yarn goes below the loop. Okay, so it's below. We're going to come in from the top, lift up our hook, put our hook over that yarn, and scooch that up so that now you've created a new loop. Going to take that loop in our fingers, going to take off the old loop and put on the new loop. Pull gently. that's what we're going to do. We're going to repeat these 2 rows over and over again. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then back in the other direction, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. We're going to repeat these 2 rows until we have a panel that is 30 inches long. You're going to find that once you get into the groove, it's really going to flow. You're going to find it both relaxing and enjoyable. I was struggling because I'm holding that loom in a very uncomfortable and awkward position. I'm holding it like that so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll be back soon with part 2, taking the panel off the loom. Thank you for watching. Happy looming. Stay fabulous. And mark that loom. Love you.